How's it going, guys? Well, I know I'm uploading the video a little bit late today. You'll have to excuse me, but I was just very busy. Couldn't get to it earlier. But I was down in the basement checking out some of my stoves, and I want to kind of share them with you. Doing another trip pretty soon, and just kind of going over my stoves, and just want to give you a little look at some of the stoves I have. So this is the first little pop can stove that I made. It actually works pretty well. It's a design that I used from Intense Angler. So it's not a design of my own. This guy, if you watch backpacking videos, you probably know who he is. He does all kinds of pop can stoves and stuff like that. But this one works out pretty well. Now I got a couple of Fancy Feast stoves here. This one works the best out of the two that I made. Made this one here. My hole punch did not do a good job. And this one works okay, but this one definitely works a little bit better. But I have taken these on a couple of trips. Now this is another stove that I purchased, trying to go ultralight and doing lightweight backpacking. This is an Sbit stove, and I modified this thing. I put a whole bunch of extra holes in it, trying to save some weight. And the added benefit actually is just a little bit more airflow. It works a little bit better. So the big drawback with this is the fuel. The fuel, it stinks. I mean, it smells so bad. It's like dead fish. So I keep it in a Ziploc bag when I go hiking, but even just taking this out of the Ziploc bag tonight just to show this for the video, oh man, my basement stinks. I hate these things. So that's my biggest drawback. I've tried using a little tea light candle. Doesn't really work. And I've also done wet fire. It works okay, but this fuel does work the best, but like I said, it just smells. Now, one of my favorite little stoves is actually, it's the Vargo titanium wood stove here. This thing, I like it. Only major drawback is that if you're hiking and it's wet and you have to gather up, wet wood, you're gonna have some trouble. But I do like this stove a lot. Compact. It's very compact. It's nice and light, and it's just kind of neat. You don't have to carry fuel with you. As long as you're in the woods, you got fuel all around you. This stove here, MSR Pocket Rocket, probably my favorite stove. Very reliable, cooks very fast. It is lightweight. I can do an ultralight pack with this stove and the fuel. I've done a trip using the stove and the fuel where my total pack weight is 12 pounds. But this has got to be my favorite stove. The MSR XGK. This stove is bomb proof. I take this on my winter backpacking trips where the temperatures are below zero. Where this canister, I never talked about the drawbacks. Drawbacks is the canister. They're a little heavy, even once you use them, and they don't work too well in cold weather. So let me go back to this. So when the weather's really cold, I use this stove. This stove, they've used this thing on Mount Everest. Like I said, it's pretty much bomb-proof. You can use a whole bunch of different fuels. I stick with basically the MSR fuel. It works fine, but drawback for this is just the weight. It's a little heavy. So my favorite stove, I would have to say, actually this is my favorite stove. When it comes to my second favorite, I actually prefer this, and the reason why is because it's very reliable. If you have to melt snow, this is a great stove. Like I said, it's probably my second favorite stove, but a close third is the Vargo, and then it would be these ultralight stoves. I only have two cook pots. My primary one is a Snow Peak 600. What I did is I put some shrink wrap, little tubing on the handles there. It kind of helps a little bit if you put a rubber band around there, because it's kind of noisy in your backpack, and I don't really like that. The shrink wrap, helps, keep some of the temperature out. I did purchase the hot lips for it. I don't always bring that, but it's there. Now the first cook pot that I ever purchased for backpacking was this GSI Pinnacle Soloist. This is a good cook pot. It's pretty lightweight, but it's just a little big for what I use. I mean, normally when I'm cooking, I'm just boiling water. I'm not really I'm not doing any baking, which some people do. I'm not, cooking in the pot. Primarily, I'm boiling water, and like I said, this is just a little big. But when I go with my friends and stuff like that, sometimes I'll bring this pot because that way it's just easier to boil up some water instead of, everyone bringing a stove. Be sure to like this video, comment down below, and please subscribe. All right, catch you on the next one.